Welcome to City and County with Big J. It is your boy, and welcome back. We haven't been on in a while, and we coming on with a special show. Today, my guest is Larry Lamar, who lost his son Wanye on July 5th in Montbello. And we always hear from the moms, and rightfully so, because a lot of these kids who are losing their lives are from single parent homes, but it's rare that we get to hear from a father who's involved in their son's life, and kind of hear from the male perspective. So, Mr. Lamar, thank you for joining us. So we've spoken before about doing some nonprofit work together. So we're going to get into some of the things that you've been doing, since your son, and maybe for the last couple of years. But tell us a little bit about your son Wanye and that day.
Well, I think I was asleep, so I was asleep, and they called me, and I was trying to ignore my phone because I think it was just some problems that they can take care of, but they came to the door and told me, so I went there. I'm like, what? Like, no, like, unbelievable. Police telling us to sit down and doing all this other stuff, so they won't let us see him at first, so we're going through all these emotions, still can't see him, it's a homicide, it's an armed investigation, so it's just like, it's like a nightmare, man. You never want to witness that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I pray to God that I never made my dad or mom feel that,
Right. Now, do you know what the circumstances was, or were behind
jealousy.
Behind your son's murder? Jealousy?
Jealousy.
Was it so somebody
no
you knew?
Gang related, no nothing. Just he was doing him to the fullest. Like, he was doing music, he was doing his thing. You know what I mean? And they just didn't like it. It was just hatred, senseless.
Yeah, we've been dealing with a lot of senseless shootings here, especially after COVID. And how old was your son?
21.
So he was starting to not even in the prime of his life. Yeah, he was finding out who he was, and he was going on. And you said he did music.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about him. Who he was. Who was Wanye?
It's like me. Like, he always had an idea. He always had something going. He just kept it going. You know what I mean? He named himself Get It, because he just got it all the time. You know what I mean? Like, his mindset was to go. And then, like, at this point in his life, we was talking, he was changing his mindset. He was like, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. I want to make music for everyone. I want to do it for everyone. You know what I mean? So he was growing. He was changing. You know what I'm saying? So right before he was changing, he took it.
That must be hard for for any parent. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean, mothers, fathers, to lose your child. You know what I'm saying? Because they're supposed to bury us, and we're not supposed to go through that. It's really hard, for me to sit here and because like I said, we've spoken before, and it was always about some nonprofit and what you were doing, but just to talk about your son on these terms and have to meet on these terms is not the way I wanted to have our initial face-to-face meeting talking about things. So were his killers apprehended or
Yes.
Okay. And so how do you feel about that? Like we lost your son.
Right.
And they did a terrible thing to your son, but we're losing kids.
Yeah, that's my point of it, is like, at the end of the day, nobody wins, it's all kids.
Right.
It's all kids killing kids. Like, you can't, what can you do? They're kids. Like, I'm not mad, I'm not happy that they caught you. No, you're just a kid too. Somebody else's parent lost the kid. Right. You know what I mean? So it's just a bunch of parents losing kids to me. You know what I mean? So it's ain't no justice.
And where do you I know you've dealt with a whole range of emotions, I'm sure. Kind of talk about that. Like, I mean, I don't want to be like, hey, just let us.
Right.
But
right. Like, I kind of been standing outside of myself watching for some reason. Like, in the beginning, it's like your heart gone. Right? And you're just trying to figure out why. You got arguments with God. Why? You know what I mean? Because it's never was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? So, like, probably I drunk a little too much. You know what I mean? But I needed to go to sleep.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then you start, after the funeral, you kind of get peaceful, because he's resting now, and that's good. He's resting, so you gain a little more peace, but it's still like a pain that won't go away. So then the next stage is, okay, I understand all of this. Now I have to do something, and my do something is finding a way to cope with it. You know what I mean? So all of the anger, all the hurt, all the whatever that I feel, I'm a tunnel it. You know what I mean?
And like, so, you know, some of those things have kind of led you to, you know, to do what you're doing now, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But you know, it's just it's hard for you know, for me to go to sit here and see. The thing about it is I don't have, you know, birth kids who are going through this. Like, I'm on the outside looking in terms of not having actual children participating and going through this, because my kids are grown. Um, but to watch you, you know what I'm saying, and other, you know, parents who have had to struggle with these kind of things, it's tearing me up. It's tearing me up. And it's a really hard thing to deal with just on the outside. So I can imagine, you know, what you're going through.
I mean, I can tell how people can take this and just go all the way down. Like, I can tell, because your body don't want to do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't work for the first 2 weeks. They let me take it off, but I couldn't. I couldn't. I had to make myself that third, fourth week, like, get up, man. You have to get up. You have to keep going. You have to keep going, because it's hard. Like, you just want to sit there and just in that hole. You know what I mean? But so you got to be strong. You got to be strong.
Right. And so is Wanya your oldest son, or where is he?
Oldest son.
And is there any younger one?
Yeah, I got a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. So my 12-year-old is taking it hard.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
He knows the most. And then a couple of days after he was gone, he was supposed to come pick him up too. So I kind of made it work.
So he was direct. You know, he was still involved in.
They was texting. And they was
oh
talking.
man.
Yeah.
You know, so
like
I mean,
it was the same. It was like, it was crazy.
So he was like an influencer for the younger ones.
Yeah. Like,
just
everybody in his circle. Like, without him right now, it ain't the same. It's not the same. You know how you got that one person that's always, come on, we got to do this. Come on, motivating them. Like, if you say it, they're going to do it, but they're not going to say it. He was to say it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's going to be tough. You know, I mean, I know you understand that, and you're going through that, and it's still, you know, July 5th was not that long ago. I mean, we're talking about a little more than a month, and you know, it's a tough thing to deal with. So, you know, saying that, how are you kind of working through this? Are you seeing a therapist, counselor, or are you talking to family more? Or, I mean, how are you?
I plan to do that just because I want to see what they're gonna tell me. I want to see what they're gonna say. You know what I mean? Like, off of the stuff that I say.
Well, I honestly, man, like, in the things that I've been doing, you know, dealing with some of the things that like we're talking about here, you know, it helps to talk to somebody different, somebody outside of your family,
don't know you,
right?
That can only give you facts. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear emotions. I want to hear facts.
Right, and it's about healing, and it's hard to talk about healing when something is this fresh, and I understand, like.
I don't think you ever hear like this what I'm feeling. Like, I'm the type of person, because at 21 I went to prison for 10 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Now at 21 my son died. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. But doing that, I learned how to internalize stuff and like push on. Like, I can't internalize this. It's not going nowhere. So like I said, I have to cope with it.
So at 21 you went to prison. And 21 your son dies. I mean, if that, you know, like that's kind of like America for us. You see what I'm saying? Like, if it's not one of those things, it's the other. You know what I'm saying? And then for it to happen in you or your family, you know, it's just a hard thing, man. And this is a hard conversation. Especially, you know, with somebody who's dealing with this, and a dad who's in their son's life, and I mean, that's how it's been, you know, here recently, and that's the pride that I can take from these situations, is that these fathers have been in their kids' lives, and it's not because of these fathers have been absent. Yeah, there has been circumstances like that in this past year, but you know, lately these have been great dads that have taking care of their kids and doing the right thing, man. And you know what I'm saying? It's just, what are you? What are some of the things you think we can do to get into these kids' lives? Because your kid
There's
wasn't in
only
trouble,
one
right?
option.
Like he's,
No,
you know,
no.
he's just out there
Like
making
I'm not
music.
saying that he wasn't young and doing stupid stuff, but he's
Because we've all been
21,
young
so he's
and
grown,
done
he's
stupid-
changed. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna say what he didn't go through, but everybody goes through something. But he was changing for the better, though. You know what
Look,
I mean?
man,
Like we
I
used
was
to
having
talk.
a conversation with a real good friend today, and you know, we were talking about our youth and how we were doing some of the dumbest shit. And she asked me, she was like, "What is your most painful and moment or memory?" And when I talk about some of those things, you know, the obvious things is when your family members die, you know, your grandparents, and you know, my kids are okay, and I couldn't imagine, you know, what you're going through. But you know, when you talk about some of your most painful memories, they're all usually around loss. You know, somebody you lost.
I mean, the good thing about it though is like it was 4th of July, so this happened like 11:40 something. So he died at 12:01, so it was July 5th. But I seen him that day, and I got to shake his hand. I said, "I love you, son." He was like, "I love you, pops." I said, "Be safe." So I got to do that. At least I got to do that. And from what I'm hearing, I guess everybody that was like that needed to did that. So that was cool.
And you know, we're having this conversation, and you know, before the show, and you know, we're talking, and I had it confused because I thought he was killed somewhere else, and that's the sad thing, because we've had so many of these happen recently, and I thought he was killed somewhere else, and then you tell me, no, well, this is July 4th or 5th, but it happened at the liquor store in Montbello, and I'm thinking, like, I was there to do the vigil, and then there's another shooting at that liquor store, and then you tell me his friend dies the next day too. Like what is the answer for our black boys?
It's only one thing, man. We need activities, we need programs and trades. Period. Like we need to get their mind and their perception back to it's okay to be smart. It's okay to have trades. It's okay to do all these other things than stand on the corner or to do this or do that and the third. It's a perception change. Like it's coming. Like the conscious evolution is coming. You can tell with all of these kids that are young, 10 and under, they are different. They're not the same as we are. You know what I mean? So it's coming. So if I grab them, great. But I know for sure I'm grabbing them because they already ready. They just need that extra. They just need that trades. Like when you get out of high school, like my programs, like the building I want. When you get out of high school, you already got a trade. You can go make some money. You know what I mean? You already got entrepreneur skills and
need
trade.
those. We need those.
That's
pathways.
all we need.
We need those
That's
pathways.
all we need.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you. School ain't for everybody.
No, it's not.
And then so if a kid is interested in a pathway that's gonna lead him to a career, let's encourage that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think when we talk about what's going on with these kids and being honest with ourselves is that we're not meeting these kids on any level.
No, we're not paying attention to them.
We're not
I understand our life is going and going and going, but that's your future. You gotta put some type of investment into it. Like you have to.
And see, the thing is, we that, like you said, that's our investment. Those are our natural resources. When we talk about children in our community, you know, we don't have oil fields, we don't have diamonds, we don't have natural gas. You know, all we have is our black.
Ourselves.
You know what I'm saying? And so we need to start, you know, encouraging these kids to, you know, go see the world and then come back and do great things in our communities. Right. And school isn't for everybody. We can get these kids some training and get them out the door.
Man, there's some people that's okay. So with every single person, they have something that they supposed to be doing. And like when I be doing my little teachings with a couple kids, I tell them check 3 things every day that you think you might want to do. Mm-hmm. One of them times you're gonna find something and you're gonna start reading it more. Man. You're gonna start writing it more. That's your thing.
Come on, man. You sound just like me.
But we're not researching. We're not reading. We're not doing what we got to do so we can elevate. Like I put this post out that everything that we are right now is because they made us that way. Right. So if we know that, we're gonna keep doing it, or we're gonna do the opposite.
Right. We need to do something different.
Like 1965, they implemented the food stamp and all of that. Why? So the man can go and the female can still pay her rent. 1965, they implemented this. Come on, man.
It's 2020.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna be stupid or we're gonna be smart. Like we smart this world couldn't do what it do if it wasn't for us.
Right. And we ain't smart enough to understand that.
You know what I'm saying? But we not understanding to get outside ourselves. Like we need each other. We killing off our soldiers. If something did go wrong, our soldiers is dead. You see what I'm saying? Like you gotta change your perception of what's going on. Like it's not about we don't mess with you. No, we want to uplift us. Like we used to have middle class people where we was doing great. Like black culture, we used to do great. Marriages was the all-time high. We was doing great because it takes two to do it.
How do you feel about that?
It takes two to do it. You need that man and that woman. You talking about F the nigga and he talking about F the B. No, man. We need each other. They want us to do that so we can be separate. You know what I'm saying? Because together they know what we're going to do.
Because they're not encouraging white families to be a part.
No, they're not.
They're encouraging our families to be
No, they're encouraging all death, but they're not encouraging no life.
We need to be honest with
Where's they encouraging life at? Nowhere.
Sitting here speaking with Larry Lamar, who lost his son Wanye July 5th. Just showing some unbelievable strength. So I really do appreciate him joining us on the show. We're talking about some of the things that we see with some of these youth, and he's started his own nonprofit. So talk a little bit about that. What is it called, and what do you kind of
Natural Born Leaders?
Mm-hmm.
And that says itself. Like we are natural born leaders.
Right.
We just got to figure out what we're the leader of. You know what I mean? And that's fine. That just takes searching. But I started in 2012. Like it's been on my heart since 2012. I started it. I did everything I was supposed to do except the 501(c). So I had to wait on that. But I was doing mentoring. I've been doing mentoring. I've been doing trying to do events. I did a Chuck E. Cheese event last year, just to get kids out. I had the mayor come out. Well, he was in the race of being the mayor at the time.
Yeah, mayor.
So he came. I want to give kids a different, like I said, perception. I want to give them options. I just want to give them tools. I want to throw everything at you. So anytime you come to that, you can go in that bag and grab it and get over it. You can fix it. You can do whatever you want to do. Because that's what we don't.
You take a lot of darts and you throw them at the dartboard and something's going to stick.
Something's going to stick. You know what I mean? Something's going to stick.
So we got Larry Lamar here, City and County boy, Big J. We really do appreciate him talking about his son, Wanye. On the other side, we're going to get into more about his nonprofit, some other stuff. This man is doing some great things. Definitely turning something positive and something from such negativity and loss, man. He's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. So we're gonna get into his story, what he's been doing, what he's going to do with his nonprofit coming up. So stay tuned. More Big J, City and County with Big J coming up. Welcome back, City and County, with your boy Big J. Sitting here with Larry Lamar, who lost his son Wanye July 5th, tragically to a shooting in Montbello. And like we were just sitting here talking and just going over, talking about the vigil in Montbello, and talking about how there was another shooting as we were trying to put that vigil on, and I went live that night, and that was one of the most irritatingly fascinating things I've ever seen in my life. Like that was kind of like a dichotomy of where our community is with these young men, and then you tell me that your son lost his best friend the next day. How many black men have we lost? My dude Tux in there has done a great job in this network, and he has this video montage of all the faces that we've lost here in the last 4 years to gun violence, and I mean it's absolutely gut wrenching, heartbreaking, all of those things, man. Like when you see the faces of these young people, and that video that he made is kids all 21 and under. I mean we're losing.
Babies,
an entire generation, and we talk about 1993, the summer of violence, and look, we're living that right now in 2020. This is the new summer of violence. Like if we don't stop playing and say, hey, this has really affected us in ways that I just I don't think we're understanding, because when we're going through it as Black people. And this is not just happening here. This is happening all over the country in terms of youth violence. This is on pandemic proportions, and when we talk about youth violence, so we're going through
generation loss.
We're going through COVID-19 and a pandemic of youth being killed out on the street. So we're losing our kids to COVID. We're losing our kids to each other, and then we're losing kids. To the judicial system, and we're not meeting these kids on any level, and that's part of it. Where are we meeting our children in America right now, as parents, as judicial, as people who teach them? We're not meeting these kids anywhere. These kids
because they're smarter and everything is more complex,
right?
And they catching. Like, we have to catch up. We have to catch up. We got to give them what they soul want, or they gonna go with their skin want. They flesh.
Oh man, I mean it's a different little thing. And it's not like, I don't know, man. I want to look at you and say, hey, I have the answers. And I know you started your own nonprofit, and you want to look at me and say, well, I have the answers. We need to develop natural leaders. Yes, we do need to develop natural leaders. But we also need to, educate young parents. We also need to adopt financial literacy. We also need to do a number of things in our community.
That's why I said the programs, the trades, and the activities. The trades and all that's gonna give them academics. It's gonna give them trades. That's what they need.
So, I mean, tell us a little bit more about your what some of the programmings that you run.
So like I said, since 2012 I started it. 2019 I finally got my 501. So really, the last year and a half, last 2 years, I say I've been really putting in work paperly. You know what I'm saying? I do stuff, and I have a couple people that volunteer with me, and we do the mentoring part. I got a couple of teachers. They do the tutoring part as of right now. I want to start more programs as I start opening and developing, but this is after I have a building. So until then, I just want to do a lot of events with people that's going to come speak, that's been from different walks of life, and just so they can hear a lot of options, a lot of stuff that they went to. Maybe they going through the same thing.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So my object right now is with the Protect Our Sons movement. This is events towards bringing in young people, young Black people, young Mexican people, just young people, and having them be the leaders. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, and then everybody comes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's just like just helping.
So talk about some of the events that you want to have.
Like I said, I had the Chuck E. Cheese one. I got one coming up now. I'm not gonna put it out there yet, but you're gonna be the first to know when I do get it.
Oh, hey, brother, we're gonna be working together, man. We're gonna be doing some things together, man. You kind of share. Unfortunately, you went through, a traumatic event that's kind of, brought you to a different place in life, and you're gonna be doing some different things. I'm already out here doing some things, and whatever you need, man, because like we gotta stop this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Man. We losing. You're talking about a kid who was going to make some music. We don't know where he was gonna go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We don't know what he was gonna do.
Yeah.
Davari Armstrong, who was another kid that got killed. Tavion, who just got killed. I can just keep going and going and going and going and going and going. Aiden Lawrence, who was killed. Matt Arenado, who was killed. We can just keep naming kids. I can go down the line, and they were all kids who had a bright future. And one of the things, I was talking to my homie one day. Actually, it was in the middle of the night. It was after another kid who had been shot. And the kid didn't make it. We had a funeral for him, but and he was another outstanding kid and was doing some great things. And part of the conversation was that it was just one of those things. And he was like, I know it's just one of them things. And I was like, right, it's just one of those things. No, but that's just it. That's just it. We've gotten too comfortable into saying it's just one of those things. We've accepted this kind of thing way too much. We've we put ourselves in a place where, we shouldn't be doing that. Like, we shouldn't have to say it's just one of them things. We accepted that. No, it's not one of those things. It's not. We can control this narrative now. We can stop what's going on now. We can get involved and do some things with these kids that, will do something and bring some positivity to them. It's not one of those things. No. We got to quit saying it's just one of those things, because it's not just one of those things.
We can change it.
We've made it just one of those things.
Yeah, we've made it just one. But we can change it though. Like you said, we can change the whole narrative. Like, just the perception. That's what we need to change. But they just need something to do, how to do it. Like, I didn't been through this, so I know techniques. I know stuff that I did that got me over it. If it got me over it, I know it'll get other people over it. You know what I mean? Right. So, like, I have techniques that when I talk to you, I have you write down stuff, I have you do homework, or have you, you know what I mean? Like,
well, talk about your background a little bit. Talk about, where you're from, where you grew up, if you were involved in anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was born in St. Louis.
Okay. In Louis.
And my dad moved up here, and I kept getting in trouble out there, so my mama moved me here, and then I go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But most of my time has been in jail and been in prison since I've been out here. I was moving too fast. You know what I'm saying? I come from St. Louis, it's fast. Right. So coming up here moving fast, you don't work that way. No. This is not that place.
It ain't that. You come in here on vacation, you leave.
Right.
Incarceration or on probation. So that's play around here. That's been
the most part. 2 years in Lookout Mountain, 2 years in prison. So most of my time has been in that place. But it's okay because I got smart as hell. So that's okay with me. You know what I mean? Like, I can take the negative as long as I got a hella positive. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
it's the way I look at it.
You have a good idea on what we need to do, and where you want to do it. Talk about some of the places that you want to implement some of your programming. Because we can be honest. We have a lot of people doing stuff
doing everything.
There. There's a lot of people doing some great work out there, but we need more.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think if we get all these organizations together that are doing things out here, and we all can kind of collaborate on some of these things, then we can start to change some real narratives.
That's what it's going to
take. You know what I'm saying? But right now we got egos. You know what I'm saying?
It shouldn't be, because it ain't about us. It's about them. We got
egos. We got people,
you know what I mean,
that fight like Bloods and Crips. And how do you expect Bloods and Crips to stop fighting when you're doing the same thing? So, we gotta stop all that, man. And who gets credit for this? Look, we gotta change the game. We gotta change the game 100%. We gotta change. It takes a village. It takes all of those things. So.
They need all them different opinions from them people to grab a solid opinion about themselves. You know what I mean?
We're gonna take a quick break. City and County with your boy Big J, Larry Lamar, man, who lost his son on July 5th. I mean, doing some big things, man, coming back. So he's definitely on the comeback. He's definitely back on the rise. We're gonna talk more about what he's doing in our community, what he wants to do in the future, right here on City and County with Big J. Stay tuned. Welcome back, City and County, with your boy Big J. Talking to Larry Lamar. Just getting nothing but inspiration from this man. Like, honestly, man. Like, you know, we pain is one thing. You know what I'm saying? To look out from the outside looking in is one thing. You know, to see somebody going through some things and go to them and say, hey, man, you know, let me take some of that on, and you can empathize with a person and feel some of that is one thing. To actually go through those kind of things is an entire different trip, bro. And that's a journey that I'm glad I haven't had to go on yet. But when you say those things, you talk about some of these shootings with the youth. They all are starting to get closer and closer, right? We're all starting to know a cousin or the neighbor's next the next door neighbor's little boy or little girl or somebody that is getting closer and closer to our home, our own home. So we need to all do something. And you started to talk a little bit about future events and some of the things that you want to do. Get more into that. You know, let people know about your website, where they can find it. Just any general information you want to give up.
Natural Born Leaders is the name, but you can go to mbleaders.org. You can go in there and see everything. Go in there if you got donations. If you donate, I got a password and a username, and you can see how your money is being spent. So you don't have to worry about, you know, someone using your money for something else. You can see it. What I really want is just my youth center all over. Like, it's got entrepreneur classes, it's got trades, it's got academics, it's got food classes, financial classes. Like, if we can get that implemented in our young people right now, then we can get them excited about something. They're not excited about nothing but what they see on TV because it's always in their face.
Right.
We need to put something else always in their face.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of these comments. Shouts out to Ashley, my God. You know what I'm saying? She out there doing her thing. So she's always, pouring her heart into things too, man. And a lot of people out here in this community, from Doretta to my family over at Grasp, where I work, to my guy Joel Hodge, who was supposed to be on with us today, but he's running late, so we'll reschedule him for next week. There's some great people that I know that work in this game, and are true to it when it comes to, just anything for the kids, anything on deck that the kids need.
Those are the people that I want to deal with. I don't want to deal with the people that's got schemes and playing. This is about our kids, and if we want to change this, we got to get serious.
Yeah, we do. I mean, this narrative is something that's been writing itself in our community for since the mid '80s, since gang banging really hit Denver, and we haven't found a way to stop it. '93 came, and it was a summer of violence, and a lot of these organizations sprung up. You know what I'm saying? And they started to work on those things that were happening in 1993.
Right.
Well, we're in 2020.
Right.
And we have to stop tackling this issue of youth and gang violence in a 1993 way.
Right.
We have to address it in a modern way.
The point is, you're not going to stop it, but you can slow numbers down. That's the point, to slow the numbers down, because there's always going to be a bad seed or whatever you call them. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be. It's a balance. It's going to be the good ones. It's going to be the balance. But you can bring down some of the numbers.
Well, I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, there's always going to be some form of gang, I think. You're always going to have some kids who feel disenfranchised and alienated and, feel like they need to click up with themselves.
Even if they don't have to.
Even if they don't have to. You're going to find some kids like that. And there will always be a certain form of that. But what we're seeing now in terms of, with violence and kids using assault rifles to gun each other down. When you're talking about AK-47s and AR-15s, right, being, the most plentiful and the cheapest guns out on the street, we have a real issue. We have a real issue, and we're not. We're not being honest when we talk about it. We're not being honest because that's what's going on. I mean, that's exactly what's going on, man.
See where they get it from, like. Our music videos look like a KKK video, but just with black people. We got guns gunning our own people down. Nobody understands that. So this is what they see. So now they want to go through that.
Our kids are getting a steady diet of violence. And the stuff that they're listening to,
all of that,
and the games that they're playing, and the stuff that they're reading at school, they get a constant diet of violence. And so we look around when these acts are committed and say, well, why are our kids so violent? Right, well, because everything that we give them that they ingest is violent. Even in some of the stuff that they see in our own homes.
No, for real.
Because you have domestic violence, child abuse, and other things. These are other learned behaviors that our kids are going through. So we have to start having these honest conversations with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? With people in our community, with folks that some wrong situations going on your block. Go in there and intervene. One thing I started to hear, especially during this George Floyd situation, you know what I'm saying, was like, if a police officer sees another police officer doing some wrong, well, he needs to stop. Well, that needs to go down in our own community too. If you see a family at the end of the block that are having some issues, intervene, help out, do what you need to do. Go in there, be a mediator. You're right.
Like I said, because it don't matter if you're on the east side, west side, south side, Mount Bell, it don't matter. We are in one village. We are all together at the end of the day. If they put all of us in one room, everybody's going from every side. So that's there you go right there. Like, we all together. We have to come together. Like, that's the only way we're gonna rise above all of this. Right. Like, we can ball out. We probably can take 5 points back if we get our stuff together.
Don't get me started on
I'm just saying.
Right. I'm saying. Don't get me started on
third spot generated by blacks.
Losing our community. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to do better. Like, we have got to do better. 100%. Like, we have got to do better. You know, with the leadership in our community, with just making this a village. Like, if you see a kid struggling, help.
Yes.
And then just don't help the kid find out what the problem is and go help the family.
Right, straight up.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially if you got the means to.
And I'm gonna tell this story, and I know Tux isn't gonna like this story, but this is the story of the hummingbird.
Right.
And and I can hear him groan and growling there. And so, and this is the story. The hummingbird is a small animal, and we all know that the hummingbirds are small. And I learned this from my sister from Grass, Michelle. And so, this is the story. So one day there's a giant forest fire, right? And all the animals are standing at the edge of the lake, and they're watching it, because they feel like they're safe by the water. So they're watching the forest just burn down. And I mean, it's just one of those towering infernos that you see with one of the Smokey Bear commercials. And so the animals are standing there and trying to decide what to do and just kind of freaking out, right? And so there's this hummingbird that just keeps going back and forth, to the lake and filling his little beak with water and over the fire and just letting them little drops onto the fire. And you can just hear it sizzle. Ain't doing nothing, right? But he keeps going back and forth trying to get water. Just a little part trying to do it. And so one of the bigger animals, look at him and say, "Hey man, what are you doing?" That's not doing anything. And the hummingbird, exhausted but humble, turns around and says, It's not much, but this is what I'm doing. What are you doing? And I think the moral to that story is that we all do the littlest thing, it turns into a real big thing.
It has to.
And we start to change the narrative of our community. So
my thought is, I tell people, put a brick down every day. Just a brick. Don't focus on nothing else. Just a brick.
Right.
That house is gonna be done.
That house will be done.
It's gonna be done. One brick.
Built by a hummingbird. You hear that, Tux?
And then if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So
he's in there going off. I'm sure he hates when I tell stories, but I do, man. Sitting here with Larry Lamar, man. Shouts out to him for showing such strength and coming in to talk to us today, man, about his son Wanye, and what's happened to him on July 5th. Talk about Wanye in closing, going forward. And more in any of your plans, any websites, anything that you can get out there so that people know.
Yeah, I gave you the website already. My main thought is this, like I said, to have youth centers all over, and 2 videos coming from his songs coming soon. Like, we talked about it, so I have to do it.
Definitely. All right, man. Make sure you get that to us because we'll pop that here on the network, man. Maybe Tux can use it in the things that he does, man. With the videos, man. They do some incredible stuff here, man. Like I was watching some of the things that he was doing before the show, man. So shouts out to Damo, Tux, our network, man. These dudes are some straight magicians. If you want to do a podcast here, make sure you contact myself, Tux, Damo, our network. There's opportunities for you to get your show on here and doing it the right way. So if you remember the old Dab City Mary Jane Entertainment and how we were doing some things there, man, make sure you contact Tux and our network, man. Get on board, man. Get yourself in here, man. Get your message out to the people, man. I want to thank everybody that has tuned in today. Your boy Big J. Shouts out to my boy Joe Hodge. We're going to take care of him next week. Safe Zone. Shouts out to all the people who has participated in them safe zones and gotten our kids safe places to be the last couple of weeks. Doretta Tootle, Candace Bailey, Corey Olagbegi, Grasp, McBride Impact, Kids Above Everything, the city and county of Denver who has provided the funding for these things. We really do appreciate it, but we need so much more because we have an example of why we have to keep doing this work and saving young people's lives, man. We have an example here and an example here, man. So make sure you definitely check in, tap in. City and county with your boy Big J. We'll holler at y'all next week.
This is our network.
Cutie.
If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams. The chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you.